Good morning, my dear students of class 4, and welcome back to the English literature class. Now in the previous classes we've already finished with the Emperor's New Clothes part 1. Okay? Now today we're going to learn part 2. Now let's see what happens in the second part. Now as you remember in the first part what happened? The emperor, as we know, he loved clothes more than anything in the world. So one day, two weavers came to the king. They told him that they could make him a beautiful piece of cloth. Now the king believed them, so he gave them a room so that they can make the beautiful cloth for the emperor. Okay? And they told the emperor that it was a magical cloth, that only a person fit for the job will be able to see the cloth. So the king was so excited, okay, he couldn't wait for the cloth to be finished. Now in the second part, let's find out what happens. Now the story starts with the chief advisor. Now the chief advisor was asked, okay, by the king to check on the two weavers. What were they doing? So the chief advisor, he peeped in through the window to see what the two weavers were doing. And he could see that they were working very hard, but he couldn't see the cloth. As the weavers saw the chief advisor, okay, they called him and said, "Ah, there you are, sir. We were expecting you. Step this way if you please." Now the second weaver said, "Don't you like the pattern, sir? The circles and the flowing lines are good, aren't they?" Here the chief advisor was puzzled, okay, because he couldn't see the cloth. And what these two weavers were explaining how beautiful the cloth, he was completely puzzled. But then he said, yes, they are very good." So the two weavers kept on talking how beautiful the cloth was to the chief advisor, and the chief advisor also responded as though he could see the cloth. Now the chief advisor was talking to himself. He said, I could not see anything. But the weavers had said, "Only wise men can see the cloth that we make, and those who cannot see them are fools or unfit for the job." So he asked himself, am I a fool? Am I unfit for my post? I must send my special assistant to see what is really happening here. Now, after the chief advisor went away and told the king that the two weavers were working very hard and the cloth was coming out very well, next the special assistant was sent by the chief advisor and by the emperor to check on the final product. Now when the special assistant went to peep on what the two weavers were doing, he said to himself, "What are these two weavers doing? I don't see any cloth anywhere." Now the weavers started talking to him. "Ah, sir, step this way if you please. We hope the work we have done will please you as it has pleased the chief advisor." The chief advisor told the special assistant that he is very happy with the weaver's work. Here the special assistant, although he too couldn't see the cloth, but he told the two weavers that the cloth was very beautiful and they had done a very good job. After he left, the special assistant also started talking to himself. "Oh Lord, help me. Am I a fool? Am I unfit for the job? I don't know, but I must keep the secret to myself." Now, the next day, the emperor He entered the hall followed by the chief advisor, the special assistant, and other courtiers. The two weavers come in bowing to the emperor. So here, both these two weavers, they told the king that the cloth is so beautiful. They told the king, "Look, my dear emperor, can you see the beautiful colors? Can you see the different stones that we have placed on the cloth? Can you see how beautiful and magnificent you will look once you wear this on the day of the parade?" Now remember, the emperor too couldn't see the cloth, okay? But he too, like the chief advisor and the special assistant, did not want to tell himself that he was a fool. So he pretended that he saw the cloth and congratulated the two weavers for doing an incredible job. Now the day for the parade came, okay? The emperor got up from his chair and all the courtiers also stood up. The emperor then goes into the dressing room where the two weavers were helping him to get dressed. Now, as these two weavers were dressing the emperor, they kept on saying how beautiful the emperor looked in their magical cloth. So they pretended as if they were making the emperor wear a fine clothing. But actually, the emperor was naked. He did not have a single clothing in his body. After the emperor was dressed, the emperor sat on his chariot, okay, and he drove off towards his kingdom to show the people, okay, the beautiful and magnificent cloth he was wearing. The people started praising, okay. They were all clapping their hands and praising the king. They were cheering him up, okay, as he was crossing the road. So as the king was, he was very happy that people were praising him and telling how good he looked in his new clothes, okay. Suddenly he heard a voice of a little boy crying out with laughter, "Look, look, Daddy, the emperor has no clothes on at all. He is naked as a baby." So the moment the emperor heard this little boy saying that he was naked, he realized, okay, in the end, that he was cheated by the two weavers. He was also cheated by the chief advisor and the special assistant. So this is how the king was made a fool. So you understand, my dear students, this is the end of the story. Now, if you go back to part 1 and you listen the story in part 2, you will realize that the Emperor's New Clothes, okay, it's actually a very beautiful story and it teaches us a lesson. Now, I will not tell you what the story taught us, but I want you to write down in your exercise book, take a picture and send it to me. What I want you to write down is, what is the moral of the story? Okay? So thank you for listening to this video and have a very nice day.